Hey everyone out there, how's it going? Welcome to Screen Speak. It's the podcast that's all about movies, life, and so much more. I'm Jordan Anderson, this is my podcast, and I want to thank you today for coming by and giving this episode a listen. Thank you so much for doing that. Really, really seriously appreciate it. I'm not just saying that either. I know I start off most of my episodes by saying that, and it sounds like a gimmick, like, oh, thanks for being here, everybody. But for real, sincerely, if you can hear the authenticity that's in my voice right now, I really do appreciate that you are checking out this podcast today. So thank you very much for doing that. If it's your first time coming by and checking out the podcast, welcome to it. Happy to have you here. Go ahead and hit the follow button while you're here before you get too far in, just so that you don't miss out on any future content and you help build this podcast and keep it growing at the pace it's at right now, which I might add is steady, and that's in no small part thanks to you, my listeners out there. So thank you very much. And if you are coming back and listening to this episode and you've been here before, well, thank you for coming and checking out episode 70. Can you believe it's been 70 episodes of this already? That is crazy. Definitely more to come, but it always feels good when you hit a milestone number. Not that 70 is a milestone number, I guess. It's like it's an even number, but still, it's got a nice round sound to it. So I'm happy that you're here for that, and I'm appreciating the number 70. Not as good as 69. That was supposed to be my terrible knee slap dirty joke, and it didn't really go anywhere except into your eardrums. So thanks for being here while I did that. Okay, so if you have listened to Screen Speak before, you will recognize the guest that I have on today. It's Bruce Michael Jr., or I just call him Bruce. Never call him Jr. I'm not sure what would happen if you called him Jr. Probably nothing. I'm sure he's heard it before, but I just call him Bruce. Bruce has been on the podcast a couple of times before. He was actually living in the Iowa area for a good while. That's how we first met. He was a film student at the University of Iowa there, and he had made some shorts. But sadly, more for myself, because I can't see him in person now, he has decided to leave Iowa, and he went to the state of Oregon. So I catch up with him there, talk with him about what's going on with his life since he's moved out there, what he thinks about it there, and more importantly, we talk about what he has going on next with his aspirations in filmmaking. He has a new short that he's working on called Lapin. I won't really get into it here because he gets into it plenty when we talk about it in this episode, but I'm excited to hear what he has cooking for that. And I think he actually has some really interesting things going on with that project, and hearing how he's piecing it together at this stage of production, I actually felt really interesting. So, and I think you will too. We talk about a lot of other things too. We just talk about the challenges of making a feature into a short, because originally he took this story, wrote it out as a feature, but is now putting it into a short, because if this is news to you out there, it's expensive to make movies. Okay? Yeah, we have tools these days that you can take a phone and you can record something and cut it together with some, easy free editing software online. But does that really make it a movie? Does that give it that cinematic quality? It's not for me to say, but it's just for you to ponder. You know what I mean? But let's see. We talk about a lot of other things. We talk about how film guilds work and how people that are in his line of work will typically try to submit their ideas. Not their ideas, they'll submit their stories that they've written out over to guilds for protection and representation, is what I'm trying to say. We talk about a handful of miscellaneous topics as well. Just talk about collaboration in film. We get into some physical media, actually a little bit. We talk about the Paul Thomas Anderson movie, Licorice Pizza. Talk a bit about the Criterion Collection. And then we kind of just wrap things on actually talking about the upcoming 2023 Oscars, some of those movies that have been coming out for that, and just sort of the state of that award show as it is today. So I don't think I need to say anything else. I think you get the picture, and you're just ready to hear this conversation play out. So without any further ado, this is my conversation with my friend and hopefully future PTA himself, Bruce Michael Jr. What is going on, sir?
much. Busy year, man. Busy year
I was
ahead.
gonna say we're not even that far into it, but it has been for sure.
Yeah.
I like
How's
your
it for you?
hat. Like
Oh,
your
thank you.
hat. Got a comment on that. Did you order that on their website?
Yeah, I did. A couple of years ago, like when I went to film school, I was like, I'm gonna be that guy.
There's a specific guy that wears the A24 hat.
Just letting people know where I'm coming from mentally, like my
I feel
approach, I
like
guess.
I really would like to wear like more movie related like merch, like things like that. Cause like I used to when I was younger, I'd wear, like a Jaws t-shirt or something like really obvious like that. But I'd like to wear like more understated movie merchandise stuff. But I don't really see that much of it unless I guess
I
if I go
don't,
online.
I don't know that A24 qualifies for that anymore. I think it's definitely a recognizable brand now, right? I feel
I
like it
would
is.
assume. I mean, even like amongst like the casual moviegoer, they've by now seen their logo pop up enough. And I
Yeah.
mean, hell, especially around award seasons, because I feel like a few of the Oscar movies this year are A24 movies, or at least
That's true.
everything everywhere all at once is. I know that. I don't know if the other ones
Yeah.
are, but anyway, man, just what's been going on? How is actually I was thinking about this before before recording. This is so stupid. Uh, is it Oregon or like Oregon? Like I feel like I never like say the state that you're in like correctly. I feel like my pronunciation's always a little bit off.
I think it's Oregon.
Just Oregon, not like
Yeah.
Oregon. Okay.
No,
All
no,
right.
no, no.
It's so
Not
stupid.
that I
I know. It's dumb.
not that I've heard. Yeah,
Well,
Oregon.
I guess what's I mean, what's it like out there? How's everything been getting set up for you?
Oh man. It's beautiful out here. I think the PNW is really underrated and undervalued. I think it gets a bad rap for being cloudy and rainy all the time, which is not actually true.
Hmm.
I know well, climate change is, you know, shifting the climates around everywhere. So I feel like when I got here, we got here in October and they had a record amount of sunny days for that month ever. So it
Hmm.
was like something like 18 consecutive days of sun, which is again a record for that month. And it was hot as hell. I know I went and saw the Portland Timbers, the soccer MLS soccer team here, and I got a sunburn, and that was in October. So again, like the trees are gorgeous because of the rain. It just looks like different than any other part of the country. It actually reminds me a lot of New Zealand, this part of the country, because there's a lot of mountains and hills. Nothing is really flat at all.
Right.
And then I think climate wise, Oregon is the most diverse state in the country because we have desert, we have tropical. So
Hmm.
Portland is technically tropical by
Really?
climate. Yeah, by climate scientists, they consider Portland area to be a tropical climate, which is why it rains so often here. And
Hmm.
then we have the beach, of course, and then we have the mountains in the northeast of the state. It's just really beautiful.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
and how's your wife like it?
she loves it. I don't think she wants to leave, according to her. Because
Uh-huh.
I've, at this point, I guess this is a good segue into like I don't know why we're here necessarily. We're just here to talk. But um I'm
I haven't seen you for a while, but then I also know like I got movie updates I can share with you. I know you have a short that you are either working on right now or you're trying to work on it. So like I'm just curious to listen to you talk about that stuff too.
well, that's what I was gonna segue into
Oh, okay, well
because
then perfect.
yeah, the conversation here. So here's what happened.
Yeah.
I wrote this screenplay. It's a feature screenplay. Obviously, we don't have the funds to make a feature. So we're making a short to put through the film festival circuit and then chase funding down to make the feature.
Okay.
So I had to rewrite the feature as a short and try to condense and put as much as I can into a short without like losing
Okay.
Obviously, when you write a short from a feature, you have to change a lot of things and like drown a lot of your babies. You can't have everything in the short. That doesn't make sense.
That's very,
So
very like I'm sorry. I pictured the image of you drowning children or little babies. I'm just like, God damn, that's a dark
I
analogy, but I
I
get
just
it.
that's my religious you know, that's the thing I do every Sunday morning.
Well,
But
wait. Let me ask the feature. So, I mean, as far as like a script on that, like how long was that like originally?
90 pages.
Okay, and do you already have it whittled down into a short?
Yeah, so now it's down. So I have a feature version of the script that's
Okay,
already registered with the Writers Guild, and then I rewrote it as a short and registered that with the guild as well. But that's only 15 pages because we're planning
okay.
on doing. So like one page of a screenplay is 1 minute on screen.
Oh,
It's
okay. That's
typically,
actually yeah, that's useful to know. Actually, I wouldn't have thought about that, but that makes
yeah.
sense.
It doesn't perfectly work out that way, but on
Yeah.
average, that's the case.
Mm-hmm.
So we were like, my producer, Ellie Darcy Alden, we sat down to determine like, okay, we by SAG rules, we can only spend $50,000 on a short. So it was like, okay, how long can we make this short within this
Mm-hmm.
budget? And it came out to about 15 minutes. We can afford to make a 15-minute film.
Mm-hmm.
So this is it also falls under the guidelines of submitting to Cannes Film Festival and, Turin and I don't know, name it, Sundance, everything that we plan to apply for.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that
Well,
worked out.
I got two questions. One, I mean, I want to know, of course, what's what's it about? This the whole plot of it, the story, right? I want to know that. But then you mentioned submitting it to the Writers Guild, and I just think that'd be interesting to talk about, like just that process of why you have to do it, how that works, whole thing.
Well, okay, so what was your first question again? Sorry.
First question.
What was
No,
it
you're
about? What was it
yeah,
about?
just
Yeah.
just what's
All
the
right.
short about? Because we're getting into like the logistics of like how it gets produced, but I just want to know what it's about first.
So it's about a footballer with a chronic foot injury that gets hooked on pain meds and starts drinking, which his father used to do as well. Um, and then he starts sleepwalking and picturing his girlfriend's pet rabbit speaking to him in Greek mythology and stuff like because he has an Achilles injury.
Okay.
So at some point at the rabbit goats him into chopping off his foot, which is rabbit's foot. I'm using the rabbit's foot superstition in this story. So
Okay.
he chops off the foot and then comes to, and now him and his girlfriend have to work out what this all means. And it magically heals his foot and he's able to play well again. So
Now,
we
to
just,
clarify too, when you're saying football, is this
when
American
I
football
say
or soccer
football, I mean
football?
world football.
I
I don't,
assume that's what you meant, but I'm like, I better clarify.
yeah. World football. I apologize to the Americans out there,
No, you're
which
good.
sport they play is not football because you don't play it with your feet. But anyway, I,
Exactly.
I digress.
So this
His
rabbit thing, because I was not expecting you to kind of go down that road. I think I saw on your Instagram though you had posted something with like a rabbit on there. But
Mhm.
my immediate question I have to ask is just from a short perspective, how do you pull off the rabbit part of it?
Well, I don't want to give away too much.
Yeah, I was gonna say no spoilers. But like I'm like because
Uh,
I'm like I like do you like CG a rabbit? Do you get an actual rabbit? I'm like
nope.
what do you
So
do?
that's actually one of the logistical nightmares we're having because
Yeah.
we want to use a live rabbit on set.
Okay.
Well, the problem with that is that it's fucking expensive. One day was going to cost us $8,000.
Who do you even
One day with a
contact to
rabbit.
lease out a rabbit?
Okay. So this was what I was going back to at the beginning of the conversation with the segue is
Yeah, yeah.
that I have learned that you just don't get what you want when you're making a movie. You have to make a lot of concessions. So one of the things that was important to me in making this film, and hopefully when I make the feature, it'll be different.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things I had to concede was filming here in Portland because I wrote it as a player that plays for Portland Timbers but has ambition to play in Europe, which is the most important region of the world for world football.
Hmm.
So that's where all the elite players go. They don't play in MLS. So anyway, he was supposed to be in Portland playing for Portland, and I wanted the aesthetic of Portland because I think it fits better for what I want to do.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm just tired of every movie being LA and New York City. You know, the third best option, I guess, is Chicago or Vancouver, Canada. Like we get these all
Yeah.
movies end up looking the same aesthetically. So it's important to me as a filmmaker to do different things, or at
Hmm.
least film in different cities so things look a little different. Um, but I couldn't. Like it was just going to cost too much to pull everyone up here versus I'm the only Portland-based person in the film, so why would we pull everyone up here, pay for hotels, pay for per diem, pay for this, pay for that?
Hmm.
Like it just in the end it made more sense to film in LA, and that's why we get so many movies and shows set in LA because that's where everyone is. A fisherman must live by the sea. So at some point the conversation in this house is, well, I think I got to move to LA, unfortunately. Like I just
Hmm.
think that's just the reality of the business. Like it is what it is. And yeah, at some point that probably happens because it's just impossible as an independent filmmaker to make film. Not impossible,
Yeah.
but it's really difficult if you're going to make a SAG project, which is what this is. We're filing for SAG.
Yeah. And
So
I want to know about that too, like how that works.
So the
Um,
Screen Actors Guild, SAG, is
yeah.
just it's a union for actors, and all
Hmm.
quality actors, like most quality actors that have at least had some experience, are a
Yeah.
part of are a part of SAG because it's their union.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in order to have SAG actors on your project, which is ideal, because then you're getting the creme de la creme of actors, right? Like quote unquote.
Sure.
Um, you need to file for SAG like to make sure that your project is SAG approved, and
Uh-huh.
then you can follow the footsteps, and then you can get SAG actors on your project.
And
Otherwise,
what
you're
a,
going to have to find actors locally and source
yeah.
it differently.
And you mentioned the Writers Guild submission as well.
The Writers Guild is the same, so it's just a
Okay.
union for writers. If I don't file my screenplays under the guild, then they're not protected product. But now there's an actual number associated with my screenplay. It's protected. It's my work. If someone steals it, I can take them to court. Yada 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 yada.
And is that, I mean, I'm sure there's several reasons of why you actually go through the submission, but is that like one of the prominent ones is just protection of the property?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I guess, how where are you at, I guess, like in the production of this right now?
We're shooting in May,
Okay.
and we just put out. So my producer is actually my co-lead, Ellie Darcy Alden. She was in Harry Potter and Doctor Who and a bunch of other things. Like she's in London.
Hmm.
She was London based. Now she moved to LA. So you see
Right.
where with that. Um, but we all end up in LA. That's the point. So she's my co-lead. We just put out a casting call for the lead,
Hmm.
um, and for the other parts. So we're in the middle of the casting process now, uh, which is a lot of fun, but also terrifying
Or
because you kind of
now,
get it.
well, I was gonna say, are you responsible for, all the casting, or I mean, who's helping you make the decisions, or is this all you?
Obviously, obvious as director, I have the main say, but
Yeah.
that's where I'm because this is my first real film,
Hmm.
and it's not a student film. This is where I am deciding what kind of director I'm going to be, and one of the things that's important to me is be a true collaborator and get opinions from everyone in the production team on every part of the process. I don't dictate anything. Now, ultimately, I have to make the decision as director, but I still value everyone's opinions and everyone's thoughts
Hmm.
at every stage of the process. So I just don't want to be that guy. You know what I mean? That's not what
Hmm.
I want.
That's super exciting though, man. I mean, I know you had, worked on shorts previously, but now you're in a totally different location. Obviously, I'm sure putting it all together outside of the student system, as you said, is just different. But I'm
Mm.
super excited for you. I mean, when can people, I guess, expect to, either hear more about it, or I mean, I eventually imagine that you'll start, putting the word out more about it and everything like that.
Yeah, so
It'll take a
it's a
while.
yeah, it's gonna take a while. The thing that I don't think a lot of people understand or appreciate how long it takes to make a film. Like,
Hmm.
and I'm talking about a 15-minute short. Like, I
Hmm.
finished writing the feature back in October, got Ellie on board in November, and we're just now casting in March, and with the plan to shoot in May. And this is
Hmm.
for a 15-minute short. It's not even a feature. And
Sure.
then after that, the post production is a whole other animal that's like incredibly crucial. Like
Yeah.
it's nice when you get the shots perfect in camera, but that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So you have to send it to an editor. I mean, this stuff is probably obvious to a lot of people, but like color
Yeah.
correction comes into play, sound production, sound design comes into play. We just hired someone from Berklee College of Music to do sound design for us,
Hmm.
so just an incredibly bright young woman. And then we got a composer from Germany who's doing theater stuff in London. So he
Hmm.
designed the score for us already. He has most of it done already, and it's fucking incredible. I'm so excited about it.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah. So, and that was someone Ellie knew through the theater system in London. So
Yeah.
I hit a home run by I didn't even do anything. It's just like that's life, right? It's all networking. And me meeting
Yeah.
Ellie is so crucial in this process because she has so
Yeah.
many connections because of her career. And she's so fucking smart, man. Like
Mm.
honestly, again, I'm just blessed to have met Ellie. Um,
Well, and I imagine this is going to be such I mean, like anything, but this experience is going to be so crucial for yourself, and you're going to walk away with so much more information than when you came into it. And I'm
yeah,
sure,
already.
and I'm sure you're already like having things
Yeah.
happen where you're like, I would never have anticipated that.
No, yeah, 100%. Like this is way harder than I anticipated. It's and there's just so many decisions that have to be made and so many things to think about and process.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's
Do you find, I guess, that, like you said that you're going to be starting production like what, in around May, right?
yeah.
Do you feel ever like pressure on that time? I mean, because I feel like most creatives, most artists, time is always the enemy. You always wish you could do this or that, but eventually you got to just act and go with
No,
what's there.
honestly, Ellie and I joke all the time that we just want to do it now. Like we're just so excited. We've been waiting for so long. Like it's
Yeah.
because the other thing to consider too is the reason we're shooting in May is because that's when actors are available. Like right now, actors are going through pilot season. And what that means is a lot of actors are being cast into these quote unquote TV shows. They're filming pilots. This is pilot season. They're filming pilots to send to networks to hopefully sell them as shows and get
Mm-hmm.
on a network. So that's why we chose May because it's sort of a very short dead period to
Mm-hmm.
get quality actors on the project because they don't have a lot going on at that particular time period. The other time period it's like November, December timeframe if you can wing it, but we that was just too short of a notice for us.
Right.
So yeah, that's why we're shooting in May. As much as we would like to just start shooting now and we're ready and not completely ready, but like
Yeah,
we're
but
just excited.
well, and also too, I mean, I know how deeply you care about this, where it's like if you're gonna do it, you want to do it right. You want to get things lined up because as you mentioned, and I appreciate that you're mentioning all these things that go into just making, like you said, 15 minutes of screen time.
Hmm.
That is not something that seemingly gets rushed, and you have a lot of moving parts that you have to stay on top of. So it's a lot of work.
I mean, I didn't help myself, right? Because I wrote a story involving a live rabbit, and
You sure did.
oh, that's another thing. So, on top of the live rabbit, because what we're doing to the rabbit, not in reality. So
Uh-huh.
please understand that. Um, we got a prosthetics artist that worked on Boba Fett, the Disney Plus the Star Wars show. So
Uh-huh.
she's doing the prosthetics for us. She's making the fake rabbit. I mean, we're gonna use a live rabbit, but in some scenes we need a fake rabbit. And
Yeah.
then because of all the blood and gore and stuff, that's a whole other thing. She does the blood design and all that stuff. So that's again, this is not a rom com where you
Yeah.
just follow two actors around. Which again, I don't want to make that. I don't want to belittle that either. I look
Yeah.
forward to making a rom com one day, but like I'm just saying that all the things that we have to do in this film and accomplish and execute well to make it
Hmm.
believable, like it's a thriller. It's not a rom com. It's not following two actors around. It's there's a
Hmm.
lot of logistical additional stuff that again I didn't help myself on my first project. I was like, yeah, there's going to be blood and there's going to be this and there's going to be that, and I just went fucking crazy in the writing process. So
So I wanna ask Bruce just a couple questions here. So one, I mean, it sounds like you're already like assembling people obviously for this. You already have some committed, some that have been putting in work to this. You mentioned the composer. Um, how are you, I guess, getting the word out about this? I mean, how are you attracting people to the project?
it just depends. So like I said before, like everything is networking.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, who I met first, the first person I met was on a website called Backstage, where I was just planning to make this an independent short on my own. I mean, I'm still using my own cash for the project regardless, but it was going to be a much smaller budget and much more independent. And, I didn't really care about the aesthetic approach too much, and I was just gonna shoot it here in Portland with like local actors and local people. So I put out a casting call on Backstage.com,
Mm-hmm.
and I found the makeup artist from Boba Fett, like I was talking about,
Yeah.
and she was like, "Hey, I know an actress." She sends me the IMDb link of the actress, and I'm like, "Shut the fuck up!" Like, and then she was like, "Yeah, just send
Yeah.
her the script, and she'll let you know if she's interested." And then like Ellie got back with me in like a week or whatever, and was like, "Yeah, I'm
Awesome.
on. Let's do it."
Is
So
that
it's
now?
just
I've heard of that website before. I
mhm.
haven't really poked around on it myself, but I mean, it sounds like there's obviously an active community on there of people that are trying to kind of look out for
Yeah,
one another, so to speak. Did you feel like that was the case with that?
it's a mix of people. Like it's people that will post like one selfie from their iPhone instead of an actual professional headshot and have no
Yeah,
experience. They're just looking to break in, which is fine. And
sure.
then but then there's also SAG actors and actresses on it that are struggling for work. So like, it's
Yeah.
just it's a mix of people. Like you don't know what you're gonna get on there.
And I feel like so much of the filmmaking process, Bruce, like there are elements of it that, for lack of a better word, just boil down to pure luck. Like who's happening to be
Yeah,
on that day and read it. Like there's so many things that are
yeah.
out of your hands.
If everything works out for me and I end up, being able to do this for the rest of my life, like a lot of the
Hmm.
reason is because of this project and who I met on in this particular few months. Like
Yeah.
meeting Ellie is just like I didn't intend to do that. It just happened.
Hmm.
So and now she's because we're working on this project together and I respect her so much and she says she respects me so much. I don't know about that, but because we're building such a great relationship with each other and
Yeah.
I'm starting to meet more and more and more people that are super creative and thoughtful
That's
and
great.
intelligent. Like so I'm starting to build my network now just on this one short.
Do you know how long you're gonna be able to shoot for? Like when you do get to the time to shoot?
So we're shooting for 5 days.
Okay. Okay.
So it's a 5 day shoot, and then post production, the film will have to be edited and
Hmm.
composed, and all the sound design and everything. That will have to be done within the next 2 months following,
Okay.
because we plan to enter the film festival circuit in August.
And is that now, like, I admit I don't know when all the film festivals kind of kick off and get going,
They're
but
all
like,
kind of different, but like
yeah.
September is like the first big month, and then it's all the way through the rest of the year.
Okay. So you're trying to get poised up so that you are at a prime position to be able to submit that there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Is there
exactly.
is there particular film festivals that you're looking at, like that you would
All
like
of
to
them.
get it all at? Just all of them?
Oh, can definitely. Like if I get in the
Yeah.
can, that's hot shit. Like that's what
Yeah.
I want. Like, Sundance is another one, obviously.
Yeah.
the Toronto Film Festival, Turin, Stockholm International Film Festival, Berlin.
Hmm.
I don't I want to get into all of them. I don't really care.
Yeah, yeah, you're just happy for the exposure, and just if
Yeah,
the right person sees it, then you never know.
yeah, and then that's when things get tricky. Like if someone actually wants to pick up the rights to the film, like okay,
Yeah.
just because it's mine doesn't mean I get to keep it. It might be that Warner Brothers comes in. I'm just saying a name.
Yeah, yeah, yep.
Warner Brothers comes in and buys the project, and they're like, "Yeah, cool. We're gonna pay you for
Hmm.
the rights, but we're gonna use a different director. You're not
Yeah.
established or experienced enough." And then also with
Hmm.
Ellie being producer and co-lead, she might lose her ability to be on the project too. So I mean,
Hmm.
we're gonna have to get paid for that and paid
Right.
well, but we could
Hmm.
end up selling the project and not being on it when it gets made into a feature. That's a possibility.
I'd be really interested to see. I mean, and obviously, I wish all the best for the short and everything, but like, obviously, it would be amazing if like somebody sees it at one of these things and they're just like, "Oh man, like I see potential with this. We could adapt this into a feature." Anyways, the stars align, as they say.
Yeah, that would be
But
amazing.
if it does get to that point, I mean, obviously, I'd love to hear about how that works. Because I actually, interestingly enough, I was listening to a podcast maybe like a week or so ago, and it had David Sandberg on there, who did the Lights Out movie, that horror movie from 2016.
Yeah.
His was I mean, I don't want to get into the whole thing, but like he made a short, submitted it. It was like 5-10 minutes or something. It went viral like on Facebook, I think, prior to him actually like putting it in a festival circuit. But it was really interesting listening to him talk on the podcast because he was just talking about how he had basically, won the movie lottery in that people saw
Mm.
this and then, they gave him a shot to direct and he never, never done anything like that and got partnered with James Wan. But anyways, that I would just be, I'm very curious about that process. It's very interesting to me.
Yeah, that's how it goes, man. Uh, there's that. I'm probably going to get other details wrong on this. I apologize. But there's a 17-year-old that I think James Wan just paid the rights to steal his idea from TikTok or some shit. Like, and
What?
they're making a horror movie out of it. Like, it's just
Hmm.
some horror thing he's been doing on TikTok, and James Wan was interested. I think it was James Wan, but
Hmm.
yeah, I'm not
Oh,
giving you all the information.
God, I just feel ridiculous for asking just now. What's the title of the short? I don't even think
Lapin,
Lapon.
Lapin, yeah.
Okay, okay. Now
So,
and
so
yeah, go
the
ahead.
in the feature he goes and plays for Marseille in France. So they nickname him Lapin, which is rabbit in French.
Hmm. Okay.
And there's also, the connection with the actual rabbit and stuff. So
Now, this is gonna sound silly. You're probably just be like, Jesus, like, what kind of movie you think I'm making? Does the rabbit talk? Does it talk at all, or like is
I
it?
don't want to give away that
Okay,
information.
okay, okay,
Let
okay.
let's let let's say that there are definitely hallucinations of that. Whether that's whether that's uh steers into reality or not is up for debate.
Well,
Yeah.
you definitely got to keep me posted on just as this thing gets closer, because I'd love to just kind of keep an eye on it and talk with you about it when it does get closer to fruition and just next steps with it, because it's really exciting for you.
Yeah, I'm super excited.
So
I'm
aside
very lucky.
from aside from the short and everything, I mean, like, is that like your prime focus right now, or I mean, you got other stuff you got going on, or I
No,
guess what are you doing?
well, I guess I should say it is my prime focus. But no, I have an audition today actually for
Really?
a role in a movie, and then audition for another role in another movie, and then I'm also applying to be like first assistant director on other projects around here, so I can just get my hands dirty as much as I can, right?
You're
So,
just you're just ready to work.
oh
You're just
yeah,
ready.
man, this is all I ever wanted to do. Like, and now, like, I'll
Yeah.
put myself on as many projects as I can. I feel like if I ever, made it, quote unquote, I would
Yeah.
still want to do like independent projects Not even as director, just to be on the project, like, because I love this shit.
Yeah,
I don't. It's not work for me. You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's just fun.
Oh, I get
So
you. I was gonna tell you just offhand, because I know you'll be pleased about it. Actually, let me here. I'm gonna grab it off my shelf quick.
yeah, no
hang,
worries.
hang on. Check out what I bought and I finally watched.
Hell yeah! What'd you think, man? What'd you think?
uh, it was. I gotta say, PTA movies, like I always have to sit on them for a little while before I give like an initial reaction, just because there's a lot going on, right?
Yep. Yep.
Um, Narratively speaking, it's definitely like one of those movies where, an average person might watch it and just be like, what the hell is the plot of this thing? Because there's just a lot of things that seem to happen and not everything always seems to connect. Like you're watching this hustler just kind of go from one thing to the next.
Mm,
You have the main girl that's trying to basically fend him off, but then she's kind of into him at the same time, and they're just going back and forth. And then you
mm.
have all the crazy actors with like Sean Penn like being I don't know if he was playing a real person or not.
Yeah, that I don't know.
But
It
no,
felt like a real person.
yeah, I can tell you I guess what I appreciate about the movie is that it very much felt like what I would call a time capsule movie, where like it
Mhm.
really feels like it's capturing a very distinct period
Well,
in history, especially like in like the California area. And I mean, I wasn't alive for any of that time, but I just feel like there was a lot of
either.
very small
Yeah.
details that were meticulously put out in the movie. And it's just freaking bizarre too. I mean, Bradley Cooper's character is like insane. Like I I had no idea what he was gonna do. Like yeah, he was crazy.
Well, again, like PTA. Oh, but we should probably establish for people who are listening to this on audio and not seeing it.
Yeah, yeah,
But we're talking about Licorice Pizza by Paul Thomas Anderson.
yeah. That
But
actually would have would have helped if I said that.
no, it's all good. So he said himself, Paul Thomas Anderson, is he wanted to recreate this moment in his childhood that he remembers all these like when he was trying to become a filmmaker or had
Yeah.
ambition to become a filmmaker as a kid. Like that's who, because the um the main actor, the not her,
Cooper Hoffman. Yeah.
thank you, yeah, Cooper Hoffman, which is uh, dude, man, my mind's drawing a blank right
Uh,
now. His dad's name,
Phil
Philip.
Hoffman. Yeah.
Yeah, his son. So that's supposed to be his, character.
Hmm.
That's PTA. So, the kid being a sort of I don't want to say swindler.
I said
Uh,
hustler because
yeah.
I get what you're saying, because some of the things he does, you're just kind of like, I don't think he does not care like about this. Like
No,
he's just wanting to make money and go to the
he's
next
sort of a
thing.
grifter in a way. And I like that about it. But obviously the kid doesn't want to be a filmmaker in the movie, but he is
Hmm.
playing what Paul Thomas Anderson considers himself to have been like as a kid. And then
Yeah.
again, they're just recreating these moments that he remembers from his head, like back then.
I
So
sure you.
it's no,
I'm sure. Sorry. So go ahead.
no, it's no different than Steven Spielberg's Fablemans, right? Like where they
I
just
watched that too. Yeah.
these directors get into this phase in their career where they're like, ah, I'm very nostalgic. I want to make something that embodies like what it
Hmm.
was like for me as a child.
I know for Licorice Pizza, and I'm sure you could relate to this part all too well, but when the main girl, and I feel bad, I can't think of her character's name.
Heim,
Uh
one of
well,
the
yeah,
Heim sisters.
yeah, her name is
Yeah,
Elena Heim.
Alana Haim.
Uh
Heim.
the scene where like she's kind of trying to see if she's interested in acting, because she doesn't really know what the hell she wants to do with her life either. And he's just like, just say yes to everything. You know how to, like, be a samurai. You can ride horses. You can speak this language. Yeah, just say yes.
Say yes to everything. Yeah, yeah.
No, that's I enjoyed the movie, but it's definitely one that I had to like I said, kind of sit on, because when I finished it, I honestly didn't know what to think. I was just kind of like, I don't know. Like this is
I,
a different movie.
I think that's why he's my favorite filmmaker is because it's
It's certainly not
just
predictable.
yeah, like there's something I I feel like he makes a film and he's like, I don't know what I want to say, but I'll figure it out along the way.
Yeah.
and it just creates this sort of it's almost like when you have a boxer that fights southpaw and they throw like lefts all the time and it's very confusing and bewildering to
Hmm.
the other boxer. I feel like as an audience viewer of PTA's films, I always feel like I'm fighting a southpaw. Like it's all just very bizarre choices and like unusual like
Yeah.
I don't know. He's such an interesting filmmaker. I when people say he doesn't work for me and I don't understand why he's your favorite filmmaker, I can't argue with
Hmm.
them because I understand what you're saying. But at the same time, there's something, it's an experience, man. It's sort of almost like
Yeah.
it's almost like a spiritual thing for me with Paul Thomas Anderson, like where I go into his films not knowing what to expect. And every time I walk out, I'm like, I don't know how I felt about that. And then I need to
Yeah.
think about it for a while. And then sometimes I need to revisit it and then go, no,
Hmm.
he's a genius. It's fine. Um,
Yeah, I definitely, like I said, I definitely get the vibe from this movie about that too. And I actually, and we could talk about this here in a bit, but I've been in preparation for the Oscars, man. I'm actually happy with myself because I've been going through and purposely watching a lot of the things that have been nominated that I ordinarily might not see. So like for the best picture winners, I know I've seen now 9 of the 10. Like I haven't seen Women Talking, but I've seen all the other ones. But anyways, I'm trying to think where the hell I was going with that. But the thing I was gonna say quick on this licorice pizza thing, and I'm holding up the Blu-ray right now because again, the people can't see me do this. Um, I still am a big physical media guy, and physical media release for this thing is awesome because the cover art is gorgeous, and then there's
mhm.
actually a limited edition poster that's in the movie that if I want to like frame it, I can do that. And then a nice extra touch on it too for anyone that cares about this is that the inside of the case is reversible. So there's artwork that you can actually flip to the other side. And you don't see a lot of movies that do that today. And I always notice that PTA physical media releases tend to be more creative with their artwork on it. So I just wanted to shout that out there for the people that manufacture those.
I think that's a way to encourage people to buy physical media, right? It's not like here's the
Yeah.
box and the disc and that's it. Like there's some actual
It
thought
is
that went
pain
into
it
it.
is it is painful to me like if I see like a really good movie and then when they do get to the physical release it's essentially lazily slapped together. Like the
Mm.
film is not bad, but it's like the manufacturer of it just clearly didn't care and they're just like whatever, we'll just throw it on there. There's nothing for the consumer to really kind of get excited about.
Well, that's why I like Criterion Collection stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
generally, if I'm gonna buy a disc, I'm buying the Criterion Collection because they put so much thought into their releases.
Do you have a favorite one that you own from Criterion?
Yeah, so I had the Before trilogy, which is three of my favorite films of all time.
You know
I have
you're
that
gonna
up.
kill me. I've never seen it.
You should.
I know I
I'll
should, but I'll be honest. I'm a cheap ass on this because every time I go to see it, it's like 50, $60 for the 3 pack, and I know like that
yeah.
probably isn't like a ton of money if it's like a really good movie, but I'm like I can't pull the trigger on that right now. I don't want to spend that much on it.
I don't think I spent that much. I must have bought it at the perfect time or something.
Well,
But I got like
probably the time to do it would be when they do their summer sale because they do like 50% off of all their titles.
yeah, maybe that's what it was. But it was just like that was physical media I had to own because again, it's three of my favorite films of all time. And I it's hard for me to recommend those three films to people because
Yeah.
again, I don't know if anyone knows what I'm talking about, but Before Sunset, Before Sunrise, and Before Midnight, like these films were made 10 years apart with the
Hmm.
same actors, and you pick up with them and their lives like exactly
Yeah.
10 years ish.
It's
And you just spend a
remarkable.
day, yeah, you just spend a day with them in their life and kind of like you're you're getting reminded of who they are and where they are in their lives, and it's
Hmm.
fucking oh man, it's beautiful. It's
I
beautifully
mean
done.
I know if I watch it I'm just gonna love it because it literally is unanimously praised by basically anybody that takes film seriously. Like
Yeah,
everybody,
yeah,
I have
yeah.
not heard one bad thing about those movies.
And there are three films that you can't really recreate. I don't. How would you do that?
No, no, you
Like, you know what I
couldn't.
mean?
Well, Linklater is
So,
so interesting with that. 'Cause, I mean, everybody thinks of Boyhood now, which I
mhm.
still think is a absolutely remarkable achievement. I love that movie. Um, but I'm trying to think. The Oscar movies. I want to talk about that for a second. Have you? I mean, have you seen any of the movies nominated, or I mean,
Yeah,
any
I
predictions?
just oh, I don't have predictions for the Oscars because they make so many dumbass choices.
Well, it's
Um,
very. It's a lot of it's political, and there's a
it's
lot of
or
stuff.
it's you know, not the shit on the woke crowd, but it's also posturing. So like when Coda won Best Picture, that was just
Yeah.
it's not a bad movie, but it's not one of the best movies of the year. Are you kidding me? I feel
Yeah.
like they nominated simply for the fact of like, well, it's about deaf people, so let's
Right.
nominate Best Picture. That's how it feels to me.
It felt
Um,
like they were just doing it like out of like pleasing the diverse,
it's all
I'm trying to think.
posturing.
Yeah, I guess I mean what God, I sound like an idiot. What does posturing mean? I've heard people say that, but
Oh, it's performance art. Uh,
ah,
they're they're
yes.
they're performing for like this sect of Twitter or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, we got to make sure that the woke people are proud of us.
I do want to
Uh,
ask. I do want to ask about two of the movies nominated, just because I know I could have a serious conversation with you about it if you've seen them. I mean, if you've seen them,
mhm.
great. If you haven't, then we'll move on. Did you watch Triangle of Sadness?
I haven't seen it yet, but I'm excited because I like that
Okay,
filmmaker's stuff.
I've
I don't
never
love
seen a
his
movie.
stuff.
I've never seen a movie by him before. Never even heard of
Have you
him, to be honest. But
have you not seen Force Majeure?
no, and I haven't seen that movie. I think he did another one called like The Square or something. That's
Yep.
supposed to be really
Hmm.
good.
Yeah.
Never seen it.
I highly, highly, highly recommend Force Majeure and not the Hollywood remake. I mean the Norwegian where you got to read the subtitles, like that
It
film.
was the Hollywood remake, the one with like Will Ferrell.
Yeah,
And like it's
that's
like
right.
they called it like Downhill or something like that. I
Yeah.
can't think of the title.
Well, it's because the inciting incident in this film is a father, his wife, and his two kids are at a snowboarding skiing resort,
Yeah.
and they're sitting at a restaurant, outdoor restaurant, next to the mountainside. And there's an avalanche that happens, and he ditches his family, just takes the fuck off, doesn't try to help or save them. And that happens in like the first 5 minutes of the film, and the rest is just playing out what this means to him as a parent, what this means to his kids, how they perceive him, how his wife is
Hmm.
going to deal with it, and then their friends that witnessed it as well. Like, and
I'll have to check that out.
it's hilarious.
When you do see Triangle of Sadness, you should let me know because that's a movie I feel like I could discuss with you.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
there's a ton of nuance and like hidden
Mm.
meanings behind things, and
Mhm.
it certainly has a dark outlook on power dynamics in society and kind of flipping the table on that. I don't want to say too much, but
Yeah,
uh,
knowing Ruben Östlund as a director, that is not surprising.
I had to really it was kind of similar to like I said, not in the same vein of like a licorice pizza, but after I watched it, I kind of had to like noodle on it for a little bit, which
I,
to me like that's always a sign of a really good movie is when you aren't sure what to think of it all. Like I really had to like digest that one, but I enjoyed it a lot.
I think the Square is like that too. The Square is one that doesn't land for me perfectly, but it's very thought provoking, and that's just him as a director at this point. So
Did
yeah, that's why
you did you see Tar?
I did.
What did you think of that?
Obviously, Kate Blanchett is, man. If she's not the best actress in the world, she's close to it, right?
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, she's
God,
very,
fuck,
very talented.
she's so fucking incredible in that movie. But I just wish that performance was in a slightly better film. I feel like, and again, it's a good movie, but it's
Hmm.
about 20 minutes too long.
Yeah,
I don't know why that movie's 3 hours long or however long it is.
doesn't need to be.
It was a chore to get through.
Hmm.
Um, there's that first 20 minutes where she's on like a live podcast show or whatever the hell
Well,
that
they're
is.
doing it's a well whatever the format is. I know it's an interview for the New York Times.
Yeah, like we don't need all that. Like I don't think that added much to the film, honestly. It lets you know about her and her personality and how she wants
Mm-hmm.
her, her being posturing or performative, like going
Mm-hmm.
back to that word.
Yeah.
She's clearly posturing and like trying to say all this, I don't know, highfalutin, like thought provoking shit, and she's ridiculous. So like that sets up like who she is. So that's cool. But
Yeah.
I felt like I got that in other parts of the movie. I didn't need all that.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's just an overlong, overstuffed film. But
Yeah.
it but I do recommend seeing it anyways because it's packing a lot of ideas and it doesn't go where you think it's gonna go. Um,
I can say with Tar and honestly on Triangle of Sadness, I actually did think both movies literally the same thing you said. You could have shaved off 20 minutes and still probably gotten like a really good movie out of it.
mhm,
Um, the thing with Tar is like, yeah, Kate Blanchett, I thought she was good. I won't lie, like for myself, there were times where the pace of things was I wasn't really always interested in parts where I think I should have been interested.
mhm.
But I at least appreciated the conversation that stems from the movie, which at least to me was kind of having a commentary about cancel culture. When you reach a position of influence, like what is your responsibility on others? Is there a responsibility? Do you just get away with stuff because you're, held on this pedestal? Like there was interesting commentary about that, so I appreciated it on
Yeah.
that level.
No, it's a good movie. It's just again, it's just overstuffed and too long.
Yeah.
Even the stuff about her psychosis, I loved.
Hmm.
Like where she hears someone yelling in the woods and goes to like seek out what's happening, and then you realize she's kind of so. I know I love all that stuff. Like it's not a bad movie. I liked
Hmm.
it a lot, and again, her performance is incredible. Worth seeing just for her. So
Yeah. Will you watch the Oscars when they come on, or are you just kind of like, I'll just see the highlights or whatever?
oh man, I think last year fucked it up for me. I think the Will Smith thing, like, I
I was
just
gonna
don't
say,
know why
what
we're
happened
doing it.
last? What happened last year? It's perfectly normal show. Yeah, no,
That
it was
it's just
embarrassing.
it was embarrassing, and it's just gotten to be, every year the Oscars they're trying to sort out how they can get more viewers. It's
Yeah.
almost like a stock option. How we've maximized everything we can do for our customers, but how are we going to squeeze an extra penny out of them?
Hmm.
So we've gotten to a point where the Oscars, like they're playing actors off the stage when they're accepting their awards, like a minute in, because heaven forbid,
Yeah.
we lose a couple of audience members because the speech is going on for too long. Like, dude,
Yeah.
they've worked their asses off. This is
Hmm.
their annual award show. Like,
Yeah.
let it be. Like, people don't want to watch. They don't want to watch. So
Yeah.
just let it.
I,
I
I,
I
I
don't know,
think
man.
I mean, well, one, I'll tell you, I have a whole podcast that I'm going to be doing on the Oscars. I'll do like a thing that, talks about all the movies that are nominated because as I said, I've been watching them. I'll do something that talks about it afterwards. But I will absolutely agree with you and say that uh, the way that they are kind of staged right now, I feel like, how do I say this politely? There might not be a polite way. Um, I think sometimes like they forget what that award show is for, like the people that are organizing it or like the people that are putting it on. Like, yes, you need eyes to watch it, and like you want to get exposure on films that don't necessarily get it in mass. I understand that, but I'm like you. I get upset when I see them, play like the takeoff music, like get out of here, like this is like this is like their Super Bowl, like
Yeah,
this is
exactly.
like the upper echelon of like this is them being recognized by their peers that they have, done something incredible with their work. And if the casual moviegoer doesn't like it, well, so be it. Like you said, like it's
Mhm.
it's not for them. It is for the industry. It is for peers in the industry.
Yeah,
um,
yeah, and
so
people
I
do
could care
watch it.
I could care less if it's really long because if it's good, it's good. But then I think this is the point I was trying to arrive at, which is I just sometimes wish the award ceremonies would really just celebrate film more. they get too caught up in like the red carpet and like, ooh, someone said like this racy thing on stage, or this happened behind the scenes. It's like, celebrate the work,
And
celebrate the art. Like that's what I watch that for, is to discover new movies that I might not have heard of, see people emotional over all the hard work they put into it. Like I don't need all this extra crap. Like I
yeah,
just want
no.
to appreciate the work.
Yep, exactly. And it's about exposing people to films that they might not otherwise see because they're more
Mm,
interested in seeing Plane. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
which again, I like Plane. It's fine, but
I never saw it. Was it actually decent?
it's actually decent. It's stupid fun. It's just stupid fun. Like, it's a good popcorn
I
movie.
think they
It's like,
said they're making a sequel to it already.
yeah, and it's called Ship.
Of course, it's another one-word title.
No, I love it. Like, they know what they are, they know what they have, and they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like, it's totally fine, but it's not Oscar
Hmm.
worthy. Like, you know what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
but most people don't seek out. We know that Oscars actually have an impact on what people see. Like, that's just a
Oh,
fact at this point.
absolutely. Yeah.
So like the fact that things are getting Oscar noms and stuff like that, that does matter. It does get eyeballs on things that would not otherwise get eyeballs on. It's kind of
Hmm.
hard to recommend to your your neighbor that wants to see like 2 or 3 films a year. Oh, go watch Tar. Like, that's not what they
Yeah.
want. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But the Oscars do have influence. So, but if you're just gonna make a spectacle out of the whole thing and reduce the credibility of it all, then it's gonna lose its impact on culture.
Yeah.
So if you want people to watch outside of the context of just showing up to see the art be, celebrated, have a quality good host on there and not handcuff him. Like,
Hmm.
Ricky Gervais like went after everyone in the audience, and that shit was
Yeah.
as fuck. Like, I will watch that just for that. Like, so
Hmm.
if you want people to show up and watch, do that. Don't do the other shit. Like, you know what I mean? I don't need all that.
Hmm. Yeah, I know something else I hear about just from general moviegoers and whatnot is that, oh, like, Star Wars will never win Best Picture, or like the Marvel movie will never, like a big popular movie will never be celebrated. Like they'll always pick some artsy fartsy thing that is pretentious and blah 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 blah. I don't agree with that because,
No.
again, kind of going back to who the Oscars is catered towards, which is the people that are serious about film, the people that do this for their livelihood, their careers. To me, the best movies that get nominated and get recognized for Oscars are movies that are furthering the medium. They are adding to a conversation. They're changing the game. They're doing things that other movies don't do. I mean, why would I want a mass populist film to get nominated when this filmmaker is being brave and doing this or that and
Mhm.
that sort of thing? So I never take offense to like, oh, the big $200 million movie didn't get enough love. I'm like, that's not what it's about. Like, it gets enough
Yeah.
love by the box office. So
And why
that
does it
movie's
need the
fine.
Oscar attention? It doesn't need the Oscar attention.
No.
It's already like, if you're the fact that you're bringing it up is already like, you know what I mean? And also
Exactly.
it's not true anyways, because Heath Ledger's the Joker performance in The
Yeah.
Dark Knight, he got
Yeah.
an Oscar nomination for that.
There's plenty
Did
of
he
examples.
may have even won? I can't
Yeah, he
remember.
did. Yeah, he won. Yeah, he
Man.
won. Hmm.
And then I believe the Batman has a few different nominations this
Yep.
year.
One I
So
actually, sorry, one I actually go back to as far as what I consider a populist film that crushed it at the Oscars was Mad Max Fury Road.
yes. Fuck, that
That
movie's
movie,
awesome.
that movie absolutely was nominated for, I think it was nominated for like 10 Oscars or something. It
As
cleaned
it
up at least
should
like
be.
seven, I think.
Yeah, as it should be, man. That
And that's
movie's
a
fucking
popular movie
incredible.
right there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mass appeal, like broad, like
Are you gonna
man.
see Furiosa, the prequel?
Oh yeah,
I
oh
think it
yeah.
comes out, it might come out this year. I know
No, I love
Anya
George
Taylor
Miller.
Joy's in her, and yeah, George Miller, of course.
Fuck
Isn't it
yeah.
why I'll start wrapping this up soon, but isn't
No,
it
you're good.
wild? George Miller is such a wild character to me because I'm like, you got the guy that has the brains to pull off Mad Max and yet do Babe like at the same time and like Happy Feet. I'm like, talk about range.
Well, it goes back to what I was saying. Like, hey, man, if I'm ever fortunate and recognized as talented enough to have a film career, like,
Yeah,
I'm still gonna be on local projects and shit just because I like making movies. I don't give a fuck. Like, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, I may write in a certain way and have a certain, niche that I want to carve out for the things that I'm actually putting my director's name on.
yeah.
Um, the A24 hat says it all. But like,
The
but at the same
A24 hat says
time,
it all.
like, I love all movies. I don't give a fuck, dude. Like, it doesn't have to
Yeah.
be one specific thing. It doesn't have to be one genre of movie. I like it all. I
No,
don't care.
there's no such thing as one size fits all with
No,
content like that. No way.
no, and I feel the same way about music. Like, I listen to a lot of indie rock, but then people will hear me listening to Miley Cyrus and be like, "What the fuck are you listening to?" And I'm like, "Dude, I like all music. I don't give a fuck. Like, just
Yeah,
I just want to have fun. Life is short, dude."
it's very exciting to me when I see a director of any real stature. I mean, usually the ones that have kind of produced a certain line of content, they get recognized for when they make this switch the most. But like a George Miller, I just think it's so great when someone who's known predominantly for one thing is like, "Oh, I'm going to completely do this genre that you would never in a million years associate me
Yeah.
with."
No,
I know
100%.
they've joked for a while. I don't honestly think it'll ever happen, but like they joked that Tarantino one day would do a Star Trek movie. And like thinking about that,
Maybe.
it's just like, I mean, yeah, I mean, maybe you never know.
Mhm.
But I just love it when people are adventurous and they appreciate all different types of genres and they just want to lend their voice to a particular side of it. And it's like, who cares? Like if they
Or not
got,
even their voice. They just want to be like on a project. Who cares? Like, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, I'm not the director. I'm just here. Like, so you do what you're gonna do, and I'm just gonna help. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's how I see my career going, regardless of what happens. Like, and also
hmm,
another thing is too, like, all of us have kids and family that we want to entertain. So
yeah,
it's not just the quote unquote artsy fartsy stuff. Like,
yeah.
it's
I
like,
hate that expression.
yeah. I know, sorry.
Yeah, you're
But
good. You're good.
let me say pretentious stuff.
Yeah,
It's not just about that. Like, some of us have a 5-year-old that we want to make a movie for, and like so they can,
yeah,
like, spike up their, imagination and spark something with them. Like, it's not just about
yeah.
potential.
No,
So
and I mean filmmakers too. They how do I say this? It's like, they say like I've heard the expression like write what you know and things like that for people that
mhm.
write and direct their own stuff. But you change through life. I mean, Bruce, like the person you are right now, in 10 years from now, you probably won't be this guy. You'll be in a different place in your life and you'll have different interests that hopefully in the medium of film you'll get a stick in and put that into. And I think that's awesome when you're just authentic to yourself in that moment in your life.
Yeah, absolutely. Even if it's embarrassing in 10 years, because the bangs were a bad choice, Becky, but it's okay. We had the
uh,
photos. We're gonna have a laugh.
Well, I was gonna say I'm actually I'll probably start to wrap this up here, but it was cool talking with you. I'm excited for this short, just to see you get going on that because I know you, like you said, going back to when you first talked about it, you started writing or you finished the full feature in October. Is that what you said? Right?
Yeah, that's right. Mhm.
I'm just excited for you, man. Like I think it's cool what you're doing. Literally wish you nothing but the best.
Oh, thanks, man. You too.
Seriously, thank you so much for coming on. Keep me posted on the status of the short and just all the stuff that you got going on. Seriously, want to keep following your career because this is a career, right? This is not
Yeah.
just a hobby. Like you are in this.
I don't want to say it yet. It's like it's funny because I wrote a short about or a feature about superstition because that's what the movie Lapin is about, really.
Uh-huh.
And then I'm sitting here being superstitious, like, no, I can't say that because I'll fuck it all up.
No, you're good. But seriously, man, seriously, best of luck. I can't wait to hear what happens next.